So I have wet down to the edges of the flowers, and I just want to drop a soft colour in. Hopefully it'll come into nice shapes. I'm going to vary it slightly, a bit of red and a bit of blue and a bit of purple. And hopefully it's going to come down to the edges where I've wet and make a nice sharp shape on the edge of the flowers. If it's not making a sharp enough edge, you can take a smaller brush and take a stronger colour and just come around the edges to make it nice and sharp. As you get down to the bottom, just fade it out into a slightly softer colour so that you don't get a hard edge on your background. Put a little bit of ochre in here. There we go. Now these, the Prussian and the purple, are the colours that I want in some of my flowers. So I'm going to just put some nice soft washes into the middle of my flowers, giving them softish edges and making them quite dark so that I can identify a little bit some leaves, and I'm going to put some green in there too. It's going to be quite a dark green. And my flowers in the front I want to save to make in a slightly brighter colour. And that's going to be really quite dark. That's my center area. Into that purpley color, I'm dropping a couple of lines of slightly darker green so that I've got a really strong dark in there. Just a little bit, which I'm going to use for the few stems, just some shapes. I want to use very transparent colours for the actual flowers. So I've got permanent rose and alizarin and a nice transparent colour, but try to keep them absolutely painted once and transparent. So you can start on shaping the flowers against the sky, against the background. And overlay them. Just get a few shapes in that can be believable. I've got some alizarin which is very strong and very beautiful, and I want to put some alizarin flowers in, but I also want to mix it a little bit with the purple to make that very dark colour, that dark red colour which comes in. Notice that these reds have bled into the darks. I don't mind that at all. I want to keep my reds bleeding like that. I'm putting in my very, very darkest colours here of my flowers, and then I'm going to go into the lighter transparent ones later. If you can get a transparent edge on your flower, do, because they are very see-through. A little bit more of this red in here. I think that's enough of the very dark colours. Quite a lot of transparent orangey red shapes, so I'm mixing a little orange in with my permanent rose. I'm going to just put a few, hopefully it'll be really transparent. In places. So I'm going to carry on painting the flowers individually, letting them merge together where I want them to. Try to get the shapes believable. And some of them are very pale, pale, pale pink, orange. So you have this transparent and slightly darker in places on the edges. So you can let it dry a little bit and then put your darker edges in. And some of these are going to be white here, so I'm going to just put a shadow color in them. A little bit of opera here, opera pink, which is, ooh, maybe a little bit too much actually. Such a delicate color here in the front. No, I think it's more permanent rose. You can try out any of your pinks and reds. There's one here called Permanent Magenta, which is quite obviously going to be the right color for something. Ooh, my goodness. Look at that. That Permanent Magenta went up here. It's a very nice color. I want to leave some of these white. So I'm just going to do couple of red ones down here. And then I'm finished the flowers except for the shadows. A bit more orange than that. Vary the colours. If you lay the brush down, you'll get a nice light coming in. So I'm mixing a bit of the blue and the shadow green for the shadows of the white flowers, which I want to be very subtle. But I want them to have a few shadows coming around. And here. Very slight shadow on my whites. And a little bit up here. A little bit coming down. Now I've mixed a very dark green with gamboge, and I'm going to just put in here the right shape, a few little stems coming down, otherwise you can't really see that they are sweet peas. And this one's got a lovely wobbly stem. I didn't paint that one. And this one here. And where they join the main stem, there are a few little bits of branch. So just make it look right. Got quite wobbly stems, some of them. And then getting these green stems in, hopefully you will establish the shape of all of these little bits that are sticking out. And if you want, add a little bit of the color of the flower into the stem, obviously not the white, but if you've got a red, a little bit of pink in here, you'll get a darker green. So if you want a slightly darker green, that's what you'll get. Here I want to have some flower coming out. and so on until you've finished painting your whole picture. Leave some whites, some white flowers because they look lovely. And then there are these lovely little twiddly bits. Can you see that here? You can take a little back of your pen and just do some swirly, swirly, twiddly bits there. Now I'm going to just do some, leaving lots of whites, do some diagonal lines. First of all in quite a pale grey blue. Leaving lights in here. Actually becomes triangles of light. You can put the colour of the flowers in because it is reflecting the flower colours. Now I'm going to go to a dark green. Because quite a lot of here is just going to do it very, very vaguely. Quite a lot of this stuff down here is stems, so it's quite dark. There's very little light here. There's a little bit of light here. And fading out towards the end, which has got light. Towards the bottom there's a sort of patterned edge, and that's virtually all I'm going to do. Maybe a bit more dark green. Don't overpaint it. It loses its ability to look like cut glass very quickly if you overpaint it. I just want to get very much darker inside here to give those a negative shape. And with this dark green, you can also put in a few negative shapes. The vase. Yeah, that's pretty much finished. A few little stems in here. I still haven't done my twiddly bit, which I'm dying to do, a couple of those. I'm going to put this same mixture which I've got on my plate of the blues and reds for a bit of a cast shadow around my bottom edge, but I'm going to make it just very, very gentle, not too dark. And fade it out. I'm just going to do the twiddles, taking the back of my brush. And some blue, green, a few little twiddles make them look like we are finished.